Hot cross buns are traditional sweet and spice buns marked with a cross on top. It is typically eaten during the Easter season. The cross on the bun symbolize the crucifixion of Jesus Christ. These buns are so nice and soft and tasty, so stay tuned and see how I make my hot cross buns. So for my hot cross buns, I'm starting off by sifting 4 cups of flour. Now I'm going to add in, I'm also sifting these. I have some half a teaspoon of cardamom powder, 1 teaspoon nutmeg, 1 teaspoon cinnamon powder, and I'm just going to sift all of these. Once it's all sifted, I'm going to add in 1 teaspoon of salt. I'm using pink Himalayan salt. You can use any type of salt that you have. This is what I use in my kitchen, so that's what I'm using today. Now I'm going to give this a little mix. After mixing that, I'm going to put in a tablespoon of yeast. Now my yeast is active yeast, is not, instant yeast, sorry, is not active yeast, so I don't have to mix it in the liquid, the warm water with the sugar. I don't have to do that because this is instant yeast. If you're using active yeast, you have to look at your pack. You will have to do that method to make sure that the yeast is alive. So now I put in half cup of brown sugar, and now I'm putting in some lemon zest and some orange zest. That's zest of half of a lemon and half of an orange. So I'm going to mix all my wet ingredients together. I have 2 eggs, 1 cup of whole milk. I also have a teaspoon of vanilla extract and just a dash of Angostura bitters, which is optional. And I'm going to also mix in the melted butter, which is about 6 tablespoons of melted butter. And I'm going to mix all of that together and set it aside. And I'm going to finish up mixing in all these dry ingredients. I'm going to add in the fruits into the dry ingredients just to make it easier. And then I'm going to use my KitchenAid mixer to get this dough together. So I started mixing it a little before I add in the wet ingredients. And what you're going to do is just add this gradually because you want this to come into a nice soft dough. You want the dough, even if it's sticky, it's fine because you can always add more flour. But you want this dough to be nice and soft. Once it's mixed and it's nice and soft, mine got a little too soft. So I had to add in some dry flour just to get rid of some of the stickiness. But you want it to be sticky because the stickier this is the softer your bun's gonna be. So I see I'm adding a little bit of dry flour because I think I put a little bit too much liquid. And I'm gonna just mix it, and it's not really that much liquid, but as I said, you will see how sticky it is to work with. So once this is mixed in, it was good, and I mixed it for about 5 to 8 minutes because you want that gluten to form. And once it is done and the gluten is developed, you see how it's kind of elastic, I'm going to start working it with my hands. So I'm putting some dry flour here on my little mat, and I'm just going to knead this in. The more you knead it is the better, so as the softer it's going to be, because my buns came out very nice and soft. So what you're going to do is just knead it to get some of that stickiness out. And don't worry about the dryness of the flour, because what I'm going to do is take some oil and I'm going to just sprinkle that oil on the top of it and smooth it out really nice. And then I'm also going to put some oil in the bowl to help it to proof. So once it's done, we're going to put it in a bowl and proof this until it doubles in size. What I did, I turned on my microwave and I let it heat up a little bit, and then I put my bowl inside there. That helps it to proof really fast. You could also do that in your oven, but don't put it too hot because it will kill the yeast. And you want to put it in any warm place. You want to cover it with plastic first, and then I just throw a towel over it. And this is going to go into my microwave until it doubles in size. So I forgot to mention, my fruits that I used was raisins, and I also used mixed fruit. You could use whatever fruits you like. You could use cherries, you can use whatever you desire. I just used what I had at hand. So now I am making a syrup to brush on top of the buns when they come out of the oven. So right now I'm squeezing half of an orange, and then I'm going to add in some bay leaf. That's 2 bay leaves. Now I'm gonna add in like a 1/4 cup of water, and a dash of Angostura bitters. I'm also gonna add in some vanilla extract. That's like a tablespoon of vanilla extract. And some mixed essence. That's a tablespoon. And I put a little bit of almond essence in there also, almond extract. And this is a cinnamon stick. And then I'm going to add in a cup of brown sugar. That's half a cup of brown sugar. And then I'm going to give it a nice mix. And this is going to boil. I'm going to put it on the stove to boil. And it's going to come into a nice syrup. A nice spiced syrup. I also forgot I added in a little bit of ginger powder in that also, which is optional. I just love ginger, so I wanted to put some of that in there, but you don't have to put ginger in there. So now I'm going to get my dough out of the microwave. As you can see, it doubled in size. So now I'm going to form these into 15 little balls. I put a little oil on my hands just in case it's sticky, because you don't want to use flour anymore. You don't want it to be ashy, so you use oil. And now I'm going to just take the dough out. Now if you want these to be nice and equal and uniform in size, you can weigh this with a scale. I didn't do that. I just average. So I'm cutting these into 15 small balls, and I'm going to form them. As you can see, I'm cutting them up, and then I'm just rolling them like this. And then I'm going to cup my hands over them on the counter and just roll in a circular motion. So you see what I'm doing there, just rolling it, cupping my hands over it and rolling it, and just put them on your greased cookie sheet. I'm using a cookie sheet, and then you're going to put this to proof again. So you're going to cover this with a plastic and put it to proof until you will see how it rises. You see it has spaces in between them. Once you take it out, it's going to be touching each other. That's how you know that it is, proofed all the way. So again, I put it in my microwave. I covered it, put it in my microwave, and I left it for about an hour. And now I'm just finishing up my syrup. I'm just letting it come to a boil, and I'm going to let it cool down. And once my buns come out of the oven, I will brush this onto it. It smells so good. I love the smell of bay leaf and cinnamon stick. It's just such a heavenly smell. So you see, as you can see, my buns, you see they're touching each other. So right there, you know it's ready for the oven. I baked these buns at 375. It depends on your oven. I baked it for about 20 minutes. But as I said, all depends on your oven. So you will see once it looks nice and golden brown, you know that it is done. So the buns are out of the oven, and you see how kind of dry they look. So that's from not egg washing it from before, because I know I have to put this syrup on it. So that's why I didn't egg wash it. If I had egg washed it, it would have been all nice and shiny, but I like to use this syrup on it. So once the syrup is on there, I'm going to let this cool down, and then I'm going to work on my icing to make my crosses. So right now I have a cup of powdered sugar, and I'm adding in about 5 to 6 tablespoons of milk. Now this, once you mix it, you will see you don't want it to be too runny, you want it to be thick. So I'll show you the consistency, because you have to put it in a piping bag to pipe on your crosses. So I just added the milk, and I keep mixing it. You want to take your time and add the milk. You don't want to add the milk too fast, because it's, you know, too much to have to go back and add more powdered sugar and all of that. So if you take your time and gradually add the milk and mix it, you'll be able to average. So just keep mixing it, and it's going to come to this consistency here. So if you see that it's still dry, you just add a little more of the milk. So this is the consistency that you're looking for, because you have to put this in a piping bag. So I'm going to take a cup and put the piping bag inside of the cup, like put it over the cup like this, and just pour it in there. It's just a lot cleaner when you do it like this, and easier. So now I'm going to pipe my crosses onto my bun. One thing I must say, you have to leave this to cool down completely. My buns was a little warm. It was still a little warm. I still felt a little heat from it. So when I put the icing on, it kind of melted a little. Not much, but you see it got a little runny in some areas. So my cross wasn't perfectly crossed, but it was great. It was good enough. So always remember that the longer, just leave it to cool down till it gets really cold, so that your cross will stay intact. You know, you can see like right there in some areas it get a little thing, nothing really to talk about. But this was a really great recipe, and I really hope that you guys try this. Always remember, my food is cooked with passion and served with love. Please like, subscribe, and share this video. God bless, and happy Easter. Bye.